Ladies and gentlemen, I will call our meeting to order. This is a regular scheduled meeting of the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust, and the first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of our last meeting. Are there any comments or questions from the trustees? Any comments or from the public? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made and second. Please cast your votes. And the minutes are approved. Next item on our agenda is the ratification of some claims, and we've got quite a few this time. Kathy, is there any specific claims you want to call our attention to?
There's a couple on here that I think are kind of interesting, and I'm going to hope I get this right. There is a payment to AAA for $490,000, and I think that's the completion of their job creation program. We paid out the money in 5 years. They didn't create quite as many jobs as we had anticipated, but they created them more quickly, so still has a bigger benefit to us. And then just another one to maybe point out is the $1 million of payment to Oklahoma County for the jail sewer rehabilitation project. That's an example of TIF 2, the downtown TIF district, providing money to the other taxing jurisdictions to help them with their projects. That's probably about it.
Are there any questions or comments on the claims?
I'd like to move approval.
Motion made and second to approve the claims. Please cast your votes. And the claims are approved. Thank you very much. Now, here we have some items for individual consideration. And Kathy, you want to say anything about item A?
Both item A and B are related to the alley improvements in the Cottage District that was approved to be funded from the downtown TIF district. As we went in and started working on the alleys, we also decided to rehabilitate the sewer lines and water lines in the area. So this is a part of that project.
Are there any questions about item A? Motion made and seconded to approve item A. All those in favor, please cast your votes. And item A is approved. Item B is a related project. Motion made and seconded to approve. Any further discussion? Please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Item C is a resolution of the Oklahoma Economic Development Trust authorizing the sole source purchase of waterproof projects and services from Hearthstone of Oklahoma, LLC, in the amount of $7,930 for project number MS0058, Montgomery Building sidewalk repairs. Kathy, anything you'd like to bring to our attention?
I'll give this a try. This is to provide some additional waterproofing at the Montgomery Building. They've had some leaks that have resulted after Project 180, and we would like to perform these services to make sure that we keep the maintenance bond in effect. But Eric and Michael Clark are here, and they're the experts.
Are there any questions of either Kathy or the experts?
I do have
Kathy and the experts, I guess.
Question. These additional costs are being borne by the city because there's no fault on the contractor, or is this something you could have pulled out of the proceeds of the bond?
So as Kathy mentioned, we're going to maintain the original maintenance bond, and the work that we're proposing is actually additional work over and beyond what the contractor performed under the original 180. So the cost today is an increase to actually add additional waterproofing, so this isn't his responsibility. And I would say that this is really more of an insurance policy moving forward, that we get to do this maintenance now to hopefully be leak-free in the future.
I think that was how I got confused. At the bottom of page 1, the top of page 2, it indicates Sherwood acknowledges their subcontractor has a responsibility under their maintenance bond.
And they do for the work that was performed under 180. But I think as you kind of go into that next paragraph at the top of page 2, that's the reason we'd like the sole source, one with Hearthstone, since they did the original work, but we're asking them to do more than what we originally scoped them to do.
Okay.
So using the same contractor is good business practice in our case here, so we preserve the original maintenance bond. And then again, the extra cost isn't because of necessarily a fault, but we want to make sure that we do some added construction.
Okay. And you're comfortable that the bond will include this new expanded scope if there's remedies required in the future?
It will, and realize that that bond has been in effect for some time. So, this was done in Streetscape Package 3 that was accepted some time ago, but what is left on the bond, yes, would still be in effect.
All right, thank you. That's helpful. Thank you.
Any further questions? Motion made to approve. Item D, do we have a second? Have a motion made and second. All those please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Item D, a joint resolution with the City of Oklahoma City approving the amendment to the Carnegie Center mixed-use project, amended and restated economic development agreement, and approving the revised subordination agreement and revised deed of declaration of covenants, and authorizing the chairman or vice chairman to execute the deed of declaration of covenants upon execution by the Carnegie Center. Kathy, would you like to say something about the Carnegie Center?
I think I'll take this one. Ms. Hatfield's lawyer didn't get involved to review documents until yesterday, and so late last night he provided revisions to the deed of covenants, subordination agreements, and suggested some changes to the resolution. So what is in front of you are amended documents that wasn't part of your agenda packet. So I think the motion would be to approve the amended resolution and the attachments that are incorporated in it as part of the motion. But this is since we did the original agreement with Ms. Hatfield on the Carnegie Center, we've learned some things with the county about how we're going to get the payment that's in excess of the assessed taxes, and this deed of covenant sets out the process and obligates the property owner to pay that difference to the trust as opposed to the county.
Anybody understands that can make a motion if they like. So in any case, we entertain a motion to approve item D as restated by our council.
Just to clarify, the payments are owed the trust, and you're removing the county as the middle.
Well, the county, we thought we had an initial agreement with the county where they would collect the excess as a second payment submitted and paid to the county. But they, because of accounting people looking at it and auditors, they decided they didn't want to do that process, so they put it back on us to collect it. So if the person's assessed taxes is less than the minimum amount that they owe us under the economic development agreement, that difference will be collected by Brent or through the economic development.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just that difference.
Gotcha.
We thought the county was going to do it, but they've opted not to.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
Motion made and second to approve item item D. Please cast your votes. Item D is approved. Item E, Kathy, you want to talk about this one? This is involving the Oklahoma Industries Authority and our KC 64A program at Tinker.
Yes, this resolution would provide additional funding to the Oklahoma Industries Authority if it's necessary for certain expenses related to the closing of the purchase of the BNSF rail yard. Just as a little bit of update, right now the closing is scheduled for February 4th. I think we're making good progress and things are going well. We know that we will have to, that there will be some expenses. The OIA may be able to cover some of those, but in case they exceed the resources of the OIA, we would like this $300,000 if it's needed.
Yes, question, do we have $300,000 we can spend that way?
Yes, we do.
And we would get back what they don't need?
Pardon me?
Will we get back anything that they don't need? Or is this just going towards the cost of issuance?
I don't think we're going to draw it unless we need it. Yeah.
Then I'll move approve.
Yeah.
Second. Have a motion made and second to approve item E with the idea that we are not going to make a $300,000 payment in one lump sum. We'll just pay it as it's required. And at the end of the day, if we have money left over, it'll be the money left over. And if, at the end of the day, how will the trust be reimbursed at all by that?
Yeah, I'll provide a little bit more detail. We're going to be purchasing an insurance policy, an environmental insurance policy. We believe that we will be able to we're going to have the ability to sell the rails that are on the property. The OIA will sell the rails and receive the proceeds from that, and we'll use that money to pay these expenses. This is just a backstop or an extra insurance for the OIA in case the sale of the rails doesn't work out quite the way we think it will.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve sale of rails?
Second.
We're going to sell them.
Motion made and second to approve item E. Any further discussion? Please cast your votes. And item E is approved. Item F is a joint resolution with Oklahoma City approving the allocation of some more gold tax bonds in the amount of $250,000 for Southland Global Services, Inc.
This item is to authorize the allocation of funds to Sutherland for 123 new jobs. They're going to be leasing space in the old Shepherd Mall for their mortgage compliance center serving all of the United States. So somewhere in here. The average wage is about $40,655 for these jobs.
Item F is the resolution, and item G is the contract.
Correct.
So the items are related.
Yes.
The Chair would entertain a motion to approve item F. Motion made and seconded to approve item F. Please cast your votes. And item F is approved. Now, we have a related item G. Are there any questions or comments on item G? A motion made to approve item G. All those in favor, please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Thank you very much. Item H, the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust annual financial report has been attached to your board packets. And I think we probably have some for the public if they're interested in it. If they can't sleep at night, it would be great reading.
I was just going to say, before you is the annual financial report that was put together by our external auditor, BKD, and we're here to happy to answer any questions. Our two accountants are here to also answer all the really detailed questions that you might have. So this is standard, and once you receive it, we'll submit it to the City Council in the next coming weeks.
Are there any questions or comments on the financials?
Brent, what is meant by a discrete component unit of the City of Oklahoma City?
I'm going to let the accountant answer that question.
Okay.
This is Miles Gordon.
Because I know Kathy in the chamber and you do a lot of work to not be discrete.
Yeah, it mainly deals with how the rules that we have to show and what we have to show. They kind of put it into separate buckets and call it different things, but the word discrete really isn't discrete. Any other questions y'all may have?
Are there any other questions? Well, we have the expert witness here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A motion made to accept the resolution. I guess we have to accept it. Is that right? Accept the report? A motion made and second to all those in favor say aye. Pardon me, I'll cast your votes. And the item is accepted. Thank you very much. Item HI, Alliance for Economic Development of Oklahoma City, General Manager's Report. Are there any questions or comments about General Manager's report?
Well, I is the report from the Alliance.
I'm sorry. Yeah, please. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. I'm trying to get out of here.
Okay. Item I is a first quarter report from the Alliance and our first quarter financial reports and our year-end audit from last fiscal year. I feel like I've done this report already. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what it, I thought I was remembering that I had already talked about this. Okay, so we've already been through the report, so now you have a paper copy of it. If you have any questions or questions about what the Alliance has been working on lately, I'll be glad to try to answer those. We're still very, very busy.
Working on assignments from the city.
Absolutely.
Are there any questions or comments on the economic development report? Since we've already approved it, I guess we can go on. Is that right?
No, we didn't approve it.
Okay. Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have motion made and second. Is there any further discussion? Please cast your votes. And item is approved. Now the general manager report. Can I say that now? Jay? Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. Item J is an amendment to final plans and specifications to be advertised for bids, project MS 0051 Bricktown Infrastructure Improvements, bounded by Mickey Mantle Drive on the east side, Reno Avenue on the south, Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad on the west, and Flaming Lips Alley. It's one of Larry's favorite places on this, excuse me, on the north. Any comments or questions about this particular project? Kathy, you want to tell us what we're doing here?
This is the plans and specifications to be advertised for bid for a project that received an allocation of tax increment financing from TIF 2 to make various repairs in Bricktown, lighting, sidewalks. There's some electrical work that needs to be done in connection with some of the lighting, landscaping, all those kinds of things, irrigation systems.
Any questions or comments? Yes, ma'am.
Originally, it was estimated at $750,000 it was going to require, and now it's $1.5 million.
And yeah, Brent.
When we originally started on this, we were thinking about just painting a lot of the railings in the vicinity, and we're doing some irrigation work. As we hired a consultant and went out there and looked at things, in addition that needed to be added, the electrical issues and additional irrigation issues, we came back and they presented us the report. And there's also, we went back to review committee and got an additional $1 million to fund all that. It's going to be quite a disruption, and we're trying to be very strategic about what we do and when we do it to minimize the disruption to that area, because we have so many visitors. And that's another reason why we wanted to do this, because it's been over 15 years since it opened, and it's received a lot of wear and tear, and it needs some updating. And so that's essentially what the engineers told us we needed more money. So.
And we're essentially talking about the ballpark. Move approval. Second. And motion made and second to approve. Any further discussion or comments? Cast your votes. And the additional item J is approved. Now can we have the general manager report?
I'm going to let Brent go through some of the highlights of the general manager's report.
On page 3, I just wanted to remind you, Kathy had already pointed it out. AAA, we have finalized that contract where they have fulfilled their obligation, and they ended up, they averaged anywhere from 500 to 650 jobs over the life of the past 5 years, and they actually ramped up much quicker than we anticipated. That's why we ended up paying them more sooner rather than later. Also wanted to point out to you, FMC Global, there's 2 payments to them. They were a little slow in getting their documentation to us, but right now they're at 57 new jobs. Baker Hughes, which is on the list, I just wanted to point out we have been in consulting with them nationally. There's been some talk of them reducing their staff. We've talked to them this week, and they said that they're proceeding with the construction out there and doing their plan out there in the northern part of Oklahoma City. And at this point in time, they do not know for sure if it'll impact jobs. But they're continuing with the capital improvements out there. Again, Cottage District, which you approved 2 items today on that. We're proceeding. I'm going to try to come back at the next meeting to give you a presentation so you can visually see the improvements before and after to see what we're doing with the Cottage District. That's been very popular. On the last page, the Outlet Mall, there's been talk about the Outlet Mall with some large, well-known tenants leaving, and primarily Saks off Fifth. Tammy Fade has been working with them with the Chamber, and they're looking to put some new tenants in there that we think will provide a good round of tenants for all people to enjoy. We do want to point out we finished December with the first 4 months of the fiscal year for our contract with them is August through July. And so when we look at August through July, they ended a little over 8% above target. They actually ended 8% over the prior year time frame. So August of 14 through December 14, it's grown around 8%, which is a good positive sign. If you recall, last December, the numbers were really poor, but we had really bad weather at that time, too, and I think that played a part in it. So we're very optimistic, and with the new things and them adding more shops, we anticipate them ending the year somewhere between $375 to $400 a square foot in sales if they stay at their current pace, which is really good for an outlet mall. So with that, I'll be happy to answer your other questions.
Are there questions? I've got one. On your list of strategic investment summary, you list Enogex and Enable both. I want to make sure there's no double counting of jobs there since they're both the same entity.
Enogex was part of when they moved downtown, it was part of a parking program to incentivize their parking, and we utilized SIP for that. And that's what the Enogex was for. And then Enable was for the creation of 108 jobs.
Well, this Enogex is creating 350 jobs.
They moved those jobs downtown.
Yes.
And qualified for our parking incentive program that we have used in the past to get companies to move downtown.
I wanted to make sure there was no double counting of jobs.
No, there's no double counting.
Are there any questions, or any other questions? Brett, Brett, thank you very much. I want to ask you a question, Brett. I'm going to start a general question. We've allocated $56 million, almost $57 million in gold proceeds. Do we have money in the bank to cover that?
Yes, sir. We have issued approximately $62 million to date since 2007, and so we have adequate funds in place. I think I was looking, Regina and I were looking at it just yesterday. We have about $34 million, I would say around $34 million in the bank, but that's before we have not made the transfer for the BNSF project, which we'll be doing tomorrow. So, and that'll be at $23.5 million right there. So, in preparation for closing on the 4th of February. So we do have the cash available.
Good, thank you. Any other questions? Any comments from the trustees? Comments from staff? Comments from the public? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you.